Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Sistrunk, and I'm reaching out to the students with another video log. Okay, in this particular video log, we're going to walk through a process of how we in the IT industry learn about the particular problems that we will have on our systems. We use what we call log files. Now, log files are applications or information, I should say, information that is given to us by all the different applications that are on your system. So, for instance, the operating system keeps a bunch of log files, a bunch of the applications keeps log files, and anytime there's a disruption on the system, a log file is definitely created. So all you have to do is just know how to go in there and research the log file and find out what the problem is. Now, going forward, we will learn more about log files, but I want you to understand this is just brief. This is just getting you into the process. This is the actual lab that we'll be working on. As you can see, it's 444 lab, locating log files. As it says, in this lab, you will get familiar with locating and manipulating Linux log files. Log files overview, log files in unknown systems, and monitoring log files in real time. Now, we're going to keep it simple, and this is not going to be a long video, but I want you to continue to use these particular tools to skill yourself up. Remember, it's all about getting these tools to skill yourself up. And when I say tools, I'm talking about these various commands. You have to know them, people, so get into it. Now, this is very important. In part one, log files overview, log files also spelled log files, that really don't matter, you know it's a log file, are files used by computers to log events. Every time something is happening on the system, the system is logging that in the log file. Software program, background processor, services, or transactions between services, including the operating system itself, may generate such events. It is up to the application developer to conform to the log files convention. So when you create an application, if you're a programmer, you have to follow this convention so we can get real-time information about what is actually happening with the application you develop on our system. Software documentation should include information on its log files. Also, you see, because log files are essentially a way to track specific events, the type of information stored varies depending on the application. So that's basically it. These four steps here tell you everything you need to know about log files and why we need them. So let's move that out the way and get started. So now what I want to do is just first go through here and look at the different log files. There's one more particular thing I want to point out over here. So let me bring that back. For instance, you see, consider the single line entry below. It was generated by an Apache. So Apache is a web server that is consistently used on the World Wide Web, on the internet, on cloud computing. This is one of the most important web servers out there. So make sure you know what that is. And if you look at this single line statement, the single log entry above represents a web event recorded by Apache. So all these applications, all these web servers, all these devices are recording the events. A few pieces of information are important in the web transaction, including the client IP address. And you will see all that information in there. So you will know exactly what's going on. The entry above can be broken down into 5 steps. And these are the 5 steps. This is your takeaway. So if you ask me, Professor, what is my takeaway? Here's your takeaway. You should know the timestamp of anything that happens on your system. The type, the PID, the client. So you should know these particular things. And you can see it right there. So I'm not going to just read it to you. But you should know these particular things so you can go about the process of solving the problem on your systems. Okay, let's move this back over here. So that's the gist of this assignment. So I'm going to do a few things on here. I'm not going to get really deep off into it because this particular process is a process that continues to go on and on and on. This is not no one-stop shop. And if you think it's a one-stop shop, you're in the wrong game. You need to know how to look up log files to find out what the problem is. Now, you can use the cat command to get inside of these files. So let's go ahead and type a command in there. And these are just commands that we pulling out. So we got cat var. Okay, so we're going in the var verification or file, and we're going to go to the log that's in there. It's a file in there that's called log, and this is the name of the file right here. Okay, and then we're going to go all the way to the end of this name because we want to make sure we get the right name. And if I typed it in correctly, which I believe I did, this is the information coming out. Now I know you're getting scared. Yo, what is this? These are logs in there that constantly generate. And it's not one log, it's a multitude of logs. And you will learn how to read these logs. So fear not, because you will learn how to read them and understand them. Just right now, it's just a lot of gobble-goo information. And I can't believe I said something my daughter said when she was a baby, gobby-goo. But anyway, it's a lot of gobbly-goo information in here. And you will get used to being able to understand it. You'll see IP addresses in there. You will see date time stamps in there. You would just follow that protocol that we showed you early on what you need to know. And that's pretty much it. And you already know how to get out of this if you was in there. But that's important. Operating system log files examples. That's all it is. It's basic examples on the operating system log files. Okay, but sometimes when we dealing with log files, we have to use a command that I told you about the other day called the sudo command. So the sudo command gives you extra privileges. And I think you remember what I said. The sudo command allows you to go in privilege mode or as a super user mode to be able to look at these different files. And that's the administrative command. So you want to make sure when you use this command, you don't walk away from the computer because people will own your systems. Okay, and I typed that in. I need a password. I'm going to go ahead quickly and throw a password in there to express that. Now we got the log files in order. So this is a little more order, but it doesn't matter. You're going to be able to understand it no matter how it looks, whether it's in order or not. But if the reading the path, we used the more command, we went to var log, and we just looked at the messages that's in there. And you see kernel support, Intel, AMD, you see all these different types of messages. And you can continue this on and on and on by hitting enter to go more and more and more. But it's the same file, we just put it in order. That's all we did. And that's what I want you to get used to understanding. It's the same file, you just putting it in order. Nothing spectacular, people. You will learn this system. You want to get out of it, you hold down your control key and put C, and that will take you up out of it. So I'm going to go control C, and I'm out of it. So that's basically how we search log files, how we go in them, we get out of them. And remember, it's a lot of different log files in there, so you'll be going into all different applications when you have a problem. When you use this is when an issue pop up and you have a problem and you need to go